a few of my personal takes on the NFL draft coming up that most people wouldn't agree with. Um, Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft. He's a Lamar Jackson clone. You know, he won the Heisman, but he has the talent to win the elite NFL MVP. Um, of course, Campbell also won the Heisman. I just think he's really being overrated. He didn't have that great of a year this past year. He gets wonky with his throws, sidearms them, has trouble seeing in the middle of the field, um, runs out of the pocket, scrambles instead of stepping up. And he played in a pro style offense, and he'd scramble out instead of stepping up. And if you scramble out in the NFL, you're gonna run right into a defensive tackle. And even stepping up is a talent you need to learn because Tom Brady was the best at it. Because you got to step up and then sidestep those defensive tackles that are coming down the middle. I don't see that from Campbell. I see a lot more elite NFL traits from Jaden Daniels and a lot of things he can do that will disturb and keep defensive coordinators up all night. Where Campbell's scrambling ability is just scrambling around playing backyard football. Jaden Daniels is running for 30 yards, running for 20 yards, standing in the pocket, throwing a strike in the end zone. It's just a different style ball, and if I'm drafting number one, I'm drafting Jaden Daniels, and if I was the Bears, I would have made a completely different move. You could have got a lot more than a 6 and a conditional for Justin Fields. That's craziness. But I don't know. That's crazy. Another one. Everybody has Joe Alt as the number one offensive tackle, and I don't take anything away from Joe Alt. Dude's a monster. 6'8". 317. He rarely gives up a pressure, even let alone a sack. There, my dogs interrupting me. I have Fuaga as the number one tackle. He's just a dominator in the run game. He's very effective in the zone run game too. He will maul whoever's in front of him to the sideline. Like there's old Robert Gallery highlight clips used to be for the old school NFL draft lovers. First draft I ever watched, Robert Gallery was in it. And they're touting him as like the safest prospect in the draft and in 10 drafts maybe. And they're showing these clips of Gallery just grabbing guys and fucking launching them like 5 yards or driving them 15 yards to the sideline and then throwing them to the ground with no remorse. That's the kind of guy Fuaga is. And I think Alt has a little bit of Fuaga in him, but he's not Fuaga. And he has Olu Fashano. He has some of him in him too. But if you're looking for a pure blindside left tackle for a right-handed quarterback, Olu's the guy you want for a pass blocker. But that's a specialized thing. Fashanu can be your right tackle and a high-level pass blocker for the not blind side, the seeing side for your quarterback. But he'll stonewall elite pass defenders there. He's got a good, quick first step and a good kick slide for a guy that powerful. And then in the run game, you pull him, you leave him in man, and he will maul whoever gets in front of him and gets to the second level. And if you let if a linebacker lets him get his hands on him, or for God's sake, a cornerback, they're gonna be feeling it for weeks. Obviously, the hot take now is Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison. I'm not buying into that for a second. Malik Neighbors is an electric playmaker, but his route tree is so incredibly limited. His moves to get off the line of scrimmage, they're so limited. You know, when a cornerback is playing tight man, you know, on a wide receiver, it's kind of like a defensive tackle going up against a defensive end going up against an offensive tackle. You know, the wide receiver needs to use like swim moves and double steps and fakes and head fakes and all that to get off the press man. Neighbors has none of that. All Neighbors has is I'm going fast down the sideline. Marvin Harrison does all the small techniques right. He can, he can swim past a press man. He can he fake it to the outside, cut to the inside on a slant. Even if there's a safety waiting there over the middle, make a tough catch there. He has the speed to get deep, like Neighbors has. He has the technique to do it more often on press man. And he has the height advantage, 6'4" to 6 foot. Neighbors is a little stronger probably, but its wide receiver strength isn't really my deal for that. Marvin Harrison is clearly the number one wide receiver. Clearly. The next one is pass rusher. Pure pass rusher. I don't care from where. From in a 4-3 stance, from standing outside linebacker position, from anywhere. The guy that can get to the quarterback in the NFL. Everybody has Dallas Turner the best. I mean, Dallas Turner, I've seen some good things from. I don't see him as an elite pass rusher. I see him, if he was in past drafts, he would be a mid-second round guy in a lot of drafts and not the first defensive player taken. Not at all. If I'm drafting, the first defensive player taken is either Byron Murphy, who reminds me of inexperienced Aaron Donald. Now, don't think I'm saying he's Aaron Donald, because he's not. But I think he could be a perennial Pro Bowl type guy, and he'd definitely be a steal if he slips out of the first. Excuse me, I'm looking for my vape, because I vape. I'm getting brain surgery on the 28th. I'm missing my skull right here. It's just my skin stretched over my brain and stapled on. So I'm getting my skull back on, which is an awesome thing. But anyway, the first defensive player I would take if I needed a pass rusher is Chop Robinson, Penn State. That dude is a crazy athlete. He's 6'4", and his burst and timing off the edge is insane. His sack numbers wouldn't suggest it, but you watch tape of him and you're like, what the hell is this guy? And his moves he's got a nice set of moves, and he has things you can't teach. This dude will go get 100 miles an hour right off the snap, and then he'll get horizontal to the ground going around the offensive tackle. And what is the tackle supposed to even block? Is he supposed to lay down and fucking block Chop Robinson? Chop Robinson can run like a 4.45 or something horizontal to the ground. You can't stop that. He's getting to your quarterback. That dude is my first defensive player off the board, for sure. Any other quarterback? JJ McCarthy, I'm not. Everybody's so high on him. Nah. That guy can't read a field to save his life. He goes through his progressions. Safeties always get him. If it's like a play fake, handoff play fake, and the safety switch out, and he doesn't notice until after he turns around, he'll throw right to the safety. He's had some beautiful passes. There's one in particular everybody shows where it was like right between two safeties into the receiver's arms. Forget who the receiver was, but that I feel like has more luck than anything. I don't even think like the safety stopped because of the way McCarthy looked, but I feel like that was more luck than anything. I don't even think McCarthy meant to do that. I think McCarthy just threw it there and got lucky, and it could have just as easily got picked. Under pressure, he steps up right into it and gets sacked. Stepping up can be good, but not when the pressure is coming from the middle. Um, Outside pressure, he tries to run around it, and he's not. He's athletic. He's not Jaden Daniels, and he's not Campbell either. He's not really. He's not even Drake May. Really, Drake May is more athletic than most people give him credit for. Um, Michael Penix to me is undraftable. I wouldn't draft him at all. I wouldn't draft him in the 7th round. He's unusable in the NFL. He's got a howitzer arm. He can throw it, 85 yards easy. But his mechanics are completely terrible. He consistently throws off his back foot, which kills his accuracy. He has no accuracy downfield. Nearly 100% of his passes are down the sideline because he can't read over the field. He can't go through his progressions. That's why Rome Odunze's stats were so dominant this year, because all Penix could do was launch it up in the air down the sideline to Odunze, and Odunze is an amazing athlete and crazy tall and an amazing jumper, and he'd just go up, outstrength the cornerback, and take that ball away. He bailed out Penix so many times. I'd draft so many quarterbacks. I'm sorry. Before Penix, I'd draft Tulane's quarterback. I forget his name right now. But Tulane's quarterback over Penix. And there's nothing special about him. He has an average arm at best. He's got good mechanics. He goes through his reads. He's a point guard of a quarterback. He'll distribute it to his playmakers in the right spot, hit him in stride, and let him make plays. And, if I'm an offensive coordinator, give that to me any day over a guy with an uber arm who just launches it all over the place willy-nilly. So, yeah. My quarterback rankings are a bit odd compared to most. Number one for me is Jaden Daniels. Number two for me is Bo Nix, because he's extremely smart, mobile, can go through his reads. Doesn't have a strong arm, but has a better than average arm and hits his guys in stride too. Like Platt, that's the guy from Tulane. Sorry. He'll go through and hit his guys in stride and let them make the plays, just like Platt. And he can make plays with his legs too. Better than McCarthy. Spencer Rattler deserves more credit than he gets. Everybody says, oh my God, his numbers were terrible, but he was pressured on nearly every single drop back he had. His offensive line was terrible at South Carolina, and he had one good wide receiver that he could rely on. They had the best recruit that South Carolina's ever had at wide receiver, 5-star national player of the year for his state, Gatorade player of the year and stuff. And they put that kid out there as a freshman. He was just running around in circles and like looking at the coaches like, well, what am I supposed to be doing out here? So if that guy was mature, then he had Rattler, and Rattler had at least an average, at least a below average offensive line in front of him, he would have put up monster numbers. But the truth is, that wide receiver was completely clueless, and Rattler's offensive line was the absolute worst in the nation. Out of all the colleges, he had the worst offensive line. They didn't protect him. They didn't care. I think they hated him. They didn't even try to protect him. They were like, fuck, this Rattler guy fucked all our girlfriends. I'm not protecting him. So, yeah, those are my hot takes. Definitely, if you don't know Chop Robinson, look into Chop Robinson. Same with Fuega. That guy is a monster. Dropped my vape. As I am to do because my left hand doesn't work. That's what a stroke shall do to you, unfortunately. But yeah, play this back after the draft and see how right I am. I'm not saying Penix won't get drafted in the 7th or before the 7th, in the 4th, in the 3rd. He probably will get drafted in the 3rd because that kind of pure arm strength can't be taught, you know. It's really hard to teach a guy with that pure arm strength that is just used to wailing the ball downfield every play to actually go through his reads, though, and he's shown that he can't. So it's a 50-50 on him. I wouldn't draft him. NFL GMs and scouts may differ than me, but that's what I've seen. I would draft Joe Alt top 10. I would draft Fuego top 10. I would draft Olu top 10. All those offensive tackles. It just depends what team you are and what you need. Like, if I'm the Jets, I'm drafting Olu to protect Aaron Rodgers' blind side and keep him from getting hurt, you know? Let him feel safe back there so he doesn't have to feel like he's always hearing the footsteps. So, watch some Chop Robinson. If somebody takes Dallas Turner over Chop Robinson, people are going to look back on it like when the Eagles took, what was that bum-ass tight end's name? I can't even think of it now. The Eagles took him over Jason Witten, and the Eagles took Freddie Mitchell over Reggie Wayne and Chad Johnson. Pretty good moves. But it might not be remembered as that bad, but I feel like Chop is the much better pass rusher, has the much rarer skill set, whereas Dallas Turner was just surrounded by crazy talent, put in the optimal position to succeed, and was a solid athlete. I don't think there's anything about him that'll make him very successful in the NFL. Anyway, this is Ryan, helmet to helmet. I will catch you guys later. Love you. Subscribe if you'd like. Don't if you don't want to. It's all good. All right, guys. See you later.